You know, everybody had jungle gyms in the backyard. I had a wrestling ring. There was a lot of pressure on the name, holding the name, wrestling with the name. That was a big pressure on me. Like I said, it's fed us. You know, my dad came from a very poor family, you know, and he went into a gym to learn how to box. And there was no boxing, there was wrestling. That's how he got into wrestling. They had me already in the semis, you know, in those high matches without even paying my dues. So naturally, I mean, like the first 3 months I wrestled in Juarez, I mean, I'm not kidding you, it was literally almost a fist fight every time I went into the ring with the other wrestlers. These guys that took me in and befriended me when not a lot of people would. And they didn't care who my dad was.
Right.
Everywhere you go in the business, there's a lot of politics. I don't care what you say. Everywhere and anywhere you go, there's politics. Some is just more abrupt than others, but everywhere you go, there's politics. I never done anything like that. Never rebelled against a promoter or done business that way. You know, I was always very loyal. And until I found out this business, you know, it's a very independent business, unfortunately, and you know, you can only have so much loyalty. I mean, the first memories I got of Japan is meeting Chris Benoit, which is, he's like a brother to me now. He knocked me out in our first match together. Even before that, his attitude with me and my attitude with him. I shouldn't say him, I should say me.
Right.
I guess my attitude towards him was changing positive because, you know, first of all, who am I to judge? You know, and I found myself being judgmental and being wrong in the way I was portraying him. Business-wise, well, he's out for himself. And he even told me one time, he goes, well, you know, if it means whether I go to Japan or you, he said, well, I'll see you when I get back. You know, and well, that's the way this business is. You can't hold that against them, you know. Because the mentality in Mexico, oh no, I'm a superstar, I can't sell. And me and Art were like, well, okay, you don't want to sell. I was maced twice, piss thrown at me, bags of piss, Pampers full of shit, pesos thrown at me, you know, hitting the head, almost in the eye, rocks. I wouldn't know how to be a babyface here in the States. The only reason I was kind of a babyface with China was, I mean, as Latino Heat, was because of China. They wanted to like China, but they wanted to hate me.
Right.
If I don't like something, usually it's me that has to change.
Right.
You know, it's very easy for me to point the finger at somebody and say, well, you did this, or this. And, she called me and she was crying. And I said, what's the matter? And she was, Art's dead. I said, what? She said, before that in Japan, about a year and a half before, I'd been blackballed out of Mexico for about close to a year.
What was that?
So it was really exciting because they sold out the Sumo Palace like in a day or 2 days or something like that, and with nothing but junior heavyweights. That was a big breaking point. All the fans I love. That's an experience I will never forget. ECW, oh man, awesome. Chills. I remember at the end, I knew I was leaving something special. I knew I was leaving a moment that doesn't last forever. I knew that then. That when we were standing in the ring at the end. But the night before, we both caught food poisoning, and we had to be taken in the hospital. And you know, I had to wrestle, and I had this IV in me, you know, and I just remember them pulling out this big old shot, like this big horse shot with a needle about that long, you know. They were walking with it, you know, and there was this old man sitting next to me. And I was thinking, oh man, poor old man, look what they're gonna shoot him up with. And they started coming to me. That I did not agree with. And I'm coming out for them. That was a bunch of bullshit. That was total politics. That match was to get him over, not me over. And that's fine. I don't mind getting anybody over. Just come on, shoot straight up with me. It's for me to get over. Okay, fine, then I'll do the job. But don't try and do that. I felt the wool was being pulled over my eyes. Even though, you know, when I told him I wanted my release and he threw coffee at my feet and stuff, I love Ray. I love him like my little brother. That's how much I think of Ray. I heard we were called the Vanilla Midgets, you know, me, Benoit, and Dean, because we had no flavor to our wrestling, you know. We had no charisma, we had no entertainment value. I had taken some GHB before I left the house. I had taken some and I got hungry, and I really wasn't thinking. And I went to the store. It was New Year's Day. I went to the store down the street, and it was New Year's Day. It was closed, so I went down to the convenience store about 8 miles up, and on the way back, it hit me. Fell asleep at the wheel. They said I was going 130 miles when I flipped. I got a lot of fear from pills and all that when Art died, and I really never touched them until I would experiment with them here and there, or use them socially. But after that car accident, with the pain that I had inside and all that, I just lost fear of them. And having an addictive personality the way I do, it was very easy. That was it, I became an addict. And I saw the same bullshit coming up, the same bullshit, and I just felt it, and it didn't feel right. I wanted out. So when Chris and Dean approached me, and Perry and the other guys, I was a shoo-in already. I mean, they didn't even have to ask me. There's a joke. It's not a joke, but it's a truth. When Perry and Dean and Chris were talking about it, they said, "Well, should we call Eddie and let him know?" They said, "Oh, he's in. Don't worry about it." When we confronted Bill Bush, we had already wanted out. Like, I don't know how many months before that, and even me and Dean went to talk to Paulie when they wrestled up in Florida.
Right.
We were there. So, yeah, I mean, we wanted out, and we didn't care if it was going to Japan and ECW again, or if it ultimately went to WWF. Just excited. Another dream come true. Never thought I'd be in a WrestleMania. I was in a WrestleMania. Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, sheesh. That is my brother. I love that. I love working with Chris. Against him,
right.
With him, anything. Chris is he's like Liger. Works for the match, not for himself. Man, I don't want to play my violin here. I've been doing that for 7 months now, and just feeling sorry for myself. I don't want to feel sorry for myself anymore. I want to take responsibility for what I did. But I talked to one of the agents, and they said, "No, you're not going to be fired, but this is it. You got to really straighten up." And I was in Cincinnati that Monday, and I got a message from that certain agent, and they had talked to the people on top, obviously, and they called back and left some message on my phone while I was at the gym, and I knew it. I knew it when I got the message, so I called back. This time, right now, as of today, and since the DUI, I've been staying sober, first of all, one step at a time, one day at a time, by the graces of God, and with a lot of help from friends and a program, and I'm doing it this time because I want to stay sober for me, but success for me right now. And it probably from now until the day I die, I'll always measure, my performance in the ring, how I can please the true wrestling fans and the new wrestling fans, and respect of my comrades and what I do. As far as business-wise, the real success comes in personal life, which is my biggest battle right now. Those are my memories, man. Standing in the ring and feeling that's what I love in there. I got a little taste of that this past week again, and it felt good. I haven't had that in a long time. I'm not. There's still a little bit in the gas tank,